As this gentleman, Dean Alejandro here, and it's time to talk about our book review for the month of February. So, this month, I really wanted to feature a book that is really important to me. Obviously, a lot of them are important to me for different reasons, but this one holds a special place in my heart just because it is a book that I really wish that I had when I was younger. The biggest reason I would describe that, and if I wanted to describe it in one word or in a couple words, really, of how it makes me feel, less isolated or not alone. This book, it impacts a lot of stories of different people's experiences and their situations, and it also talks about the authors, and it kind of twists it all together with not only just stories, but there's even some graphics and illustrations and stuff too. So it's really cute, and it really like ties everything together. Any questions that I've ever had with coming to terms of coming out when I was younger and not really knowing what those words meant, that's really a reason why I didn't come out until I was 27, because I didn't know what trans was. I didn't know that it was possible to come out. I didn't know dysphoria was a thing. I just thought I was like crazy. But this book really has a good way of answering all those questions, and really those first initial questions when you're coming to the fork in the road and saying, hey, what is trans? Am I trans? Is this, a thing? Is it for me? Cool. If not, no, and it really just answers a bunch of different things. So this book specifically, unlike last month's review, I'm not actually going to read anything from it just because of the copyright of it. The copyright is just saying that no part of the publication may be reproduced in any material form. And I am just really going to go over some of the contents that I feel are beneficial, and you can kind of put two and two together from there. And of course, I am going to put the link below for you to purchase it. I do recommend purchasing this for anyone. It doesn't matter your age. So this book is called The Trans Teen Survival Guide, and this is by Owl and Fox Fisher. This specifically, like I said, it says teen, but you don't have to be a teen. I was 28 when I read this, and I just feel like I said it covers a lot of the very basic questions with coming out, and just even basic terms. And the great thing too about it is sometimes you can't really research something if the resources aren't out there. One, and there's not that many resources for us out there. Two, you can't really research something if you don't know the correct terminology. Sure, you can kind of just punch a couple things into Google and try to figure it out there, like here and there. But chances are, like, you're not able to do that. So something that's really awesome with this book is that it has a glossary in the back, and it shows a bunch of different definitions of just some basic and not basic things. So whether you are experienced in the LGBTQ community or not, I was not, I'm learning stuff every single day, but it has those answers for you. So you don't have to ask someone. You really have all the resources right in here. This book is 221 pages, and like I said, it ties everything together with experiences, which is awesome. On basically every single subject in this book, it's going to tie a couple of different personal experiences. So you never have that question of like, am I alone? Which is a constant thing. At least for me, I was always like feeling so isolated and like I was the only one out there dealing with certain things or thinking certain things. And this book really shows you from different people and different like experiences, whether they're transgender or non-binary, and all around the spectrum, it shows those experiences, which is really great to be able to do just like sitting in your living room or wherever, just reading this. So some of the contents that I really wanted to point out, there's a lot more, like I said, but these are just so you get an idea of it. Gender roles, telling the world or not. So that's like basically, of course, like coming out, and of course, like gender roles is, with society and everything else and coming to it and what you should do or what you shouldn't do. It's basically like a general introduction of everything, which is great. My dog's just having lunch right now, right behind me. It also talks about dysphoria, which is so important because some people experience dysphoria. Not everyone does, but some people do. And for those that don't know what it is, at least for me in my personal experience, I always confused it with hardcore depression, extreme depression. And as the years like passed more and more, it just like completely overwhelmed me, and I couldn't do anything, and that's when I ended up realizing it and coming out. But another topic on here is hormone therapy, which is super important because there is not that much information out there on the internet. And we all know that everything on the internet is like 100% true, right? So yeah. Then it talks about surgeries, which again is great because this is covering all over the spectrum. Even though it does say trans, it is covering a lot of different topics. Then it talks about like basic like teenage things, which is great because there's so much stuff talking about like regular teenage stuff and everyday life. So this is a great way to kind of show it just from growing up, dating as a trans person. And then my favorite, it has awkward trans tales, which is going even more in depth and really showing that you're not alone. Situations that you have been through or thought of or thought, oh my God, this can't get any worse. Chances are it has, and it has a good way of showing you that you're not alone with that, but also like kind of having a good laugh and being like optimistic about it, you know, which I think is great. And then it also has a topic on self-care and how to help others, which is extremely important. I know I'm saying every topic is important, but it is so true. And these are only not even like half of the topics going through the contents right now. I just don't want to put too many spoilers in there because I want you to go and get your own copy. But with self-care, you know, that's something that we really don't do, or we feel like we don't need. Like we are, I don't know, like we're so busy doing our own thing that we put ourselves on the back burner. And I've talked about that in tons of videos, so I won't really go into depth about that. But another great thing in here is that talks about resources. And again, I feel like that is great and amazing all in itself, because chances are, if you're like me or ever have in the past, like Googled tips and I don't know, stuff on being transgender when you're first coming out or trying to realize it, there's like all this pressure. So the fact that you have all those resources in one book, and like I said, it has illustrations from a bunch of different amazing illustrators. Owl and Fox are amazing, you know, alone. And it's a great way to have all these resources that are completely reputable, that you know, hey, I can rely on this. And hey, if I'm trans, that's awesome, and I have people that are gonna support me. Or if I'm not trans, then you know that's okay, but you feel comfortable exploring that. You don't have to, like, you know, when you come out, it feels like such like a like it's such a concrete decision. So like oftentimes people who are coming to terms and they think they might not be trans, they don't want to talk about it, or maybe they realize that they're non-binary instead of trans, you know. And it's really hard for people once they come out to kind of go between those things, and sometimes people in our community aren't the kindest. So it's a great way to know that, hey, however you identify and however your sexuality or whatever your sexuality may be, it doesn't matter. We're all figuring it out together, and we're all here to support each other. So, like I said, this is the Trans Teen Survival Guide. I'm going to put the link below. I really recommend that you get this as soon as possible, and I will see you later.